Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This Shabbos is a very special Shabbos, Shabbos Parshat Shoftim. The reason why we just blew the shofar as we began the month of Elul. The month of Elul is acronym of Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. It's a time when the king is in the field, it says that God makes himself accessible. And we start to blow shofar every single day to remind us that Rosh Hashanah is coming, the New Year is coming. From the famous verse, Ura Yesheni Mishinaschem, wake up you sleepyheads from your slumber. And so we wake up every day with the shofar blowing after the morning services to wake up our souls, to start preparing ourselves for this upcoming year, this new year, and we know we need a much better year than we had this past year. And so as we go into this Shabbos Parshat Shoftim, we always read this Shabbos, this Parsha, on the first week of the month of Elul, because it's very much connected to the concept of Elul and judgment, the judgment days. Shoftim means judges and officers. Shoftim v'shoftim titan lecha b'chol sha'arecha. Judges and officers you should place at every single gate. And there's a very interesting idea that we read about in this week's Torah portion. Well, there's two interesting ideas. The first one, it says you will go to the judges that are in those days, which is obvious. You always have to go with the judges that are in those days. You can't go to the judges. We don't have Back to the Future. We can't Asher Yeh B'Yamim Haim, which will be in those days. You can't go back to the future and find the judges in the past. So what does it mean you'll find the judges in those days? And the answer is to teach us something very practical as we go into this judgment time, and that is that in order to be a judge, you have to be a judge of your own area. If someone is in Jerusalem, he has to be judged by Jerusalem. If someone is in Miami, he has to be judged in Miami, because every single one of us live in a different place, and that affects us. You can't compare a Jew that lives in Colombia that has no access to kosher to a Jew who lives in Miami that has Jewish day schools and kosher stores and beautiful shuls to join. And so each one of us are judged to our capacity. But also God does that as well. The reason why we read this parsha this week is because in the month of Elul, God also judges us, realizing that each one of us have our own space, our own families, our own challenges, and to each one of us, He judges us accordingly. It's not a flat rule for judgment. Nevertheless, each one of us has to challenge ourselves. Another thing we learn about in this week's Torah portion is that the cities of refuge. And the reason why I read about the cities of refuge are called Arei Miklat. Is the practicality of it is if somebody, God forbid, kills someone by mistake. And the literal example that the Torah gives, if there's a wood chopper and the iron flies off and hits someone behind him, it's technically murder, but it was by mistake. So it was manslaughter, but it was by mistake. And so what do you do? And so the Torah created cities that you can run to, and there will be your safe haven, and nobody can take any retribution against you. And that's where you have to go and stay there until the high priest dies, and that is your sort of like a witness protection program for the families who may want to take revenge against the death of their loved one. But the reason why we read about this week's Torah portion and this time is because the month of Elul is like our own city of refuge. The month of Elul is a time for us that we run in from the entire year. It says in these 30 days we can make up for every single day of the year. And so just like someone who may unintentionally murdered someone, may have unintentionally made a mistake, we too may have made mistakes over the last 11 months. That's the reality. We're human beings. God gives us a period of time called the month of Elul that we're able to run into, and we're able to save ourselves. We're able to protect ourselves from all of the prosecution that may come out and bring all of our misgivings that we may have done over the past year. Comes Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we run into this space of the month of Elul, which practically means embrace this time of the month of Elul, as it's a time in which we have tremendous energy to make up for what we may have made a mistake for the last 11 months. It's a time which it says the king is in the field, HaMelech Basadem, which means the king in Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we're going to the king's palace. But in the month of Elul, the king is in the field. He's accessible. We're able to go out and reach out to him. He's coming to us. And this is the time that we should make change in our lives, that we come to Rosh Hashanah. We don't just show up in shul then, but we start to prepare ourselves. And that is why we blow shofar. We say every single day we add in chapters of Psalms. We add in charity. We start doing things in order to enhance our spiritual levels, in order that we should get the best judgment for our upcoming year. We start wishing each other at this time, you should be inscribed and sealed for a happy, healthy, and sweet new year. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And we'll see you tonight, 7:30 tomorrow morning at 10:15.